Okay, so it's been a minute. Um, Things have been crazy. This video is to catch you up on what happened, talk about last week's discussion, talk about this week's discussion, and stuff moving forward. So it's a lot of stuff. Could I go ahead and make two videos or three videos? Sure. Am I going to? No, because I had intended to make this video days ago, but the way life has gone, this is when I'm finally getting a chance to make it. It is now Thursday morning, and I like to give you updates on Sunday or Monday. So that tells you how crazy things have gone. Um, for those few people who decide to watch, once I get this made, I will put in the comments or somewhere, maybe when I post the announcement. Anyway, I'll put somewhere the minute mark to go to so you can pass the first part of what I'm saying. Because the first part of what I'm saying doesn't directly affect the course. It's answering what happened last week, and it gets morbid. Some of you will be curious and interested. Some of you will not want to hear about it at all. So I will tell you where the mark is for you to go to so you can totally skip the entire thing because I'm not going to force you to listen to it. Why not just put it at the end? I don't know, because my brain works linearly. And so I have to go in the order that everything happened. And that's just one of my quirks. Um, so again, I am about to start with the personal information. I will post what minute mark to go to skip all of this to then hear about last week's discussion, what I discovered with last week's discussion, how to make sure you get all the points you can, and to talk some about this week's discussion. Um, yeah. All right. So if you do not wish to hear the personal stuff, this is where you will then go forward to whatever the minute mark is that I will have posted for you. All right. So, as you know, our class started on June 8th. I had everything set up. I like to be interactive. I even gave you the video letting you know that this is how it was going to go. And then I disappeared. It's bad. For this, you need some other history. All right. We know I am not young. I am 54, and my boyfriend, we have known each other for over 30 years. When we first met, we were with other people. We both ended up marrying other people, had children with other people, blah, blah, blah. He got divorced in 2017, and ironically, I got married again in 2017, and we reconnected as friends, and then a whole bunch of other stuff happened. My marriage dissolved in 2023, and that was a whole lot of other stuff. um yeah, it was not good. We'll just say that I was married to someone who during our marriage got diagnosed as bipolar 1, and then the psychiatrist and our couples counselor, due to the aftermath of that, then also suggested narcissistic personality disorder. And we will just say I am way healthier now than I was then. Skip on past that. Boyfriend and I, before we became boyfriend girlfriend, just we had been reconnecting as friends because we had been best friends way back when. Um, Now we're together. So his name's Chris. Monday, when I finished working uh, my in-person job, as I got to my car, I got a text from Chris, and he was told that his ex-wife had been found deceased. And they had had a child together, Colin, extreme special needs. And the marriage fell apart because the ex wife we'll just say, went to alcohol to deal with things. And through rehab twice, and finally it was a you have a choice: get clean, stay sober, help take care of our child, or go. And so the fact that they're exes, that lets you know what happened. And in 2020, his son died. So there's a lot to unpack with the ex-wife being found dead. And I didn't want him to deal with that by himself. I just noticed one of my windows is open. I didn't want him to deal with this by himself. So I told him, send me the address. I'll meet him there. I was going to help because he had to go in there to reclaim personal items because, there's a lot of not good people out there who try to steal identities. So we had to go in order to try to retrieve the keys, the wallet, the phone, iPad, laptop, whatever. I'm in my dress clothes, skirt, dress shoes, really cute shoes. I love my shoes. They were cats. Um, I had to throw them away. Thankfully, I am autistic enough that I had a backup pair of exactly the same shoes. Yay. So I still had my cat shoes, but I had to throw the other ones away. Um, if you notice, the phrasing was that she was found deceased. It was a wellness check thing because some of the neighbors realized they hadn't heard from her in a while. And the next door neighbor used to hear from her every 2 weeks for him to go buy her alcohol. Um, the upstairs neighbor is the one who said that they needed to do a wellness check and told the next door neighbor he needed to do it. So he called it in on Sunday, the same day this course started, is when it was called in and they found that she had deceased. My boyfriend was notified on Monday because management of the apartment complex had to wait until they came in on Monday. They found it, they alerted her family, and then alerted Chris because Chris lives here. We all live in the Atlanta area. Oh, good Lord. She was not newly deceased, and her AC was set at 78, and we live in Atlanta, and it's summer. Um, Turned out it was also a hoarding situation. So if you have ever watched a TV show called Hoarders or anything like that, yeah, yeah, it was like that. And empty vodka bottles everywhere. Um, we put on masks to go in, and I'm trying to help him find things, but it's hard to find anywhere you can step. And the only clear area on the floor, someone had thrown a towel down on because, and here's the really gross part, my apologies, I'm a little morbid and right now. Um, Kind of like, we'll say liquefied body was still there. The body itself was gone, but the niche that came out was still there. Oh, I forgot to say, she also had been one of my best friends 20 years ago. Uh, so there's that. Um, so in my cute little dress shoes, I'm having to step in liquefied body. Um, we'll just say body juices. There you go. Basically, what happens, the biologist in me is going to tell you that your fat melts basically, so it liquefies. So that's it. I cannot describe the smell. I cannot describe the sight of the apartment, the stuff everywhere. Um, I slipped a couple times and had to figure out how to right myself before I completely fell because there was nothing I could grab onto to keep from falling because everything is just piled and gross. Um, Things bit me while I was in there. I had bites all down my leg, which I decided I would just keep telling myself it was mosquitoes from outside, even though I was getting bit inside. Fast forward Monday evening, call my son to let him know because back in the day, we didn't have somewhere to live. I have a weird history, I know. And so half a week, my kids and I would stay at my mother's house. Half the week, my kids and I would stay at their house. Chris and his ex. Um, my then husband had already moved to another city trying to get work and whatnot. It was a whole thing. But so my kids were raised knowing this lady, so I felt I should tell him. My son pointed out I didn't sound good. I have asthma. I have really crappy lungs. So I thought about that. And then when I woke up Tuesday morning, whole side of my throat hurt, my lungs hurt, and the spots on my leg where I had been bitten were not exactly pretty. So my daughter had a doctor's appointment already on Tuesday. So I called in and said, hey, since I'm bringing her in, can I go ahead and get an appointment to get checked out? Typically, I dismiss everything and I figure, oh, it's no big deal. And I just put it behind me and don't worry about it. Um, grateful my daughter had an appointment because I probably would have ignored it. But instead, I went into the doctor's office. I explained everything. I had taken pictures and I'm like, hey, this is where I was. This is what my leg looked like 1 hour after I walked out of the apartment. Blah, blah, blah. And when the bites were looked at and the pictures were looked at, immediately she put me on antibiotics. I am a huge advocate for not taking antibiotics unless you know you have something bacterial. I took the antibiotics. This is the first time in my entire life that I can remember that without having a test specifying I had a biotic issue, that I have taken antibiotics because I don't know what was in there. She wanted to give me a steroid shot to help my lungs, but I'm allergic to prednisone, so she was afraid to give me the steroid shot. So instead, I've been doing breathing treatments every 6 hours. Then I was also told that I needed to slow down because I asked her straight up about my walking. I walk all the time. And last year I had foot surgery and I've been slowly building back up to how much I used to walk. And I've recently gotten to where I do 6 miles a day. And she told me no, that I had to do less than 3 miles a day. And then told me that I had to have someone walk with me, that I had to take 3 or 4 days off of work, that if I did any walking, I had to go slow. And if I had any issues with breathing, got lightheaded, or any chest tightness, I had to go to the emergency room. So I had to try to slow it down. All of this is happening at the same time as we're now having to deal with all the stuff from the ex's passing while her mom and brother were coming up here. So Chris is having to do everything. I'm trying to help Chris, but now I'm limited on how much I can help Chris. Dude, it's a lot. Today, in 1.5 hours, I have another doctor's appointment because my lungs are not getting better. I finished the antibiotics. The bites look better, but you can still totally see where they were. And this is a week, what? A week and 2 days, week and 3 days later, you can still see where they were. So they'll probably take a look at that. But now my lungs have gotten to where I still very much feel them, even though I'm doing the treatments. And it feels like somebody has punched me in the ribs. So I have to go back to the doctor. On top of that, if you had read the announcement about the video that was coming, I thought I was going to have time to do it Tuesday while I was at the hospital with my mother, but I never had the chance. The only chance I could have had was very minimal because it turned out where she thought it was a surgery, it was a procedure. Most of the time was going to be in the recovery room laying flat on her back. So I was in the room with her. And she is demanding, I guess is the best way. I knew there was no way to make a video around her. So that's when I was getting all the grading done, was there. So I could also tend to her for 4 solid hours. And I work in person Monday and Wednesday. So hello, it's Thursday and I'm finally getting to this. So that's the basic gist of it. This is not typically how my world goes, not to that degree. My world is rather colorful. A lot of things do happen. but it's normally not quite this dramatic. So I do apologize for dropping off the face of the earth. I hope you understand why now. And yeah, hopefully I can get back on track. All right, so that's all the personal stuff, I think. So there you go. Now you have your answers. Oh, but I forgot to say when the bioremediation crew came through, because I had to help find bioremediation cleaners, came through to do it, they found an entire nest of black widows in the apartment. So there's that. Anyway, let's get to the discussions. Welcome back to anybody who chose to go all the way forward to this spot. We're done with all the conversation. Now we're going to talk about the discussions. Discussion 1, a lot of people did not follow the proper instructions, and that is problematic. This is one of those things you need to work on because a lot of people have a very bad habit of skimming instructions and thinking they're doing what they're supposed to do. You lose points for this. Your instructions were to put in something complete and utter total fake, just nonsense. And in the previous video, I gave an example of this. I'm going to give you 2 examples right now. The first time I did this, I put in, what does sucking or drinking ketchup through a straw mean? The other one that I did in my in-person class this term was, what does flipping hamburgers in the sand mean? You are not supposed to just say things that you have heard various times that you just know are fake, because the internet knows it's fake. AI works by grabbing information on the internet and tossing it out there. So if you are using anything that people have already used, it's already been prepped for this. That's not going to give you the example you were supposed to go for. This was never an argument of everybody says AI is horrible or everybody says AI is wonderful. This was not an opinion piece about what you think about AI or the benefits of AI. Can AI seemingly help people find stuff sometimes? Yes. The issue is it's not always correct. Sometimes it's correct, yes. Other times it's not. But people get complacent and they get used to reading whatever information is given and they take it as fact. It's the same thing as when somebody does a Google search and they only look at that little part, the little blurb, and think they know what it means without ever clicking on the link and reading it in context. AI pretty much does that. If anyone has ever watched the old game show Family Feud and they ask a question, then like, popular answer is, and you're like, why in the world do they say that? It's because the people in the audience are the ones who said that was the answer. It doesn't mean it's really the answer. Wikipedia is similar. Wikipedia is not a valid source because it also just grabs random information. People can edit Wikipedia to say what they believe is correct. Wikipedia picks the most popular answer. Is Wikipedia correct on a lot of things? Yes, but it's also wrong on a lot of things. And when you are basing your knowledge on something without doing proper research, you are making yourself more ignorant. And in this day and age, you can't afford that. We have so many people who want to just get things the easy way that we have an entire nation of people who don't actually know what's happening anymore. And it's very disturbing. So, in order to discuss politics or science, because I'm primarily a science teacher, you need to educate yourself. You need to quit taking the easy way out, the shortcuts. That is why the entire assignment was based on something completely made up. You were not supposed to ask a valid question. It's not, do you agree with AI or don't agree with AI? It is not about, should students be able to use AI? So many people turn this assignment into something it was not. I implore you to read your feedback. I gave feedback, I think, to every single person. Read the questions carefully. And I think it would be hilarious if all the people who didn't answer properly actually did just copy and paste it and throw it into AI to see what AI said. So If you did that, take a look at what it gave and compare it to the actual assignment, because that would be flipping hilarious. That would answer the question right there. Some of you did a phenomenal job at coming up with some random. Oh my God, I loved some of these. I'm going to talk to other people about some of these because they made me so happy. The class in person that I do here, when I told them this, we did it like as a class together, which is what I prefer to do. But since this is an online course, I can't. That's why it was a discussion. I was hoping each person would actually put the effort in that you're supposed to. That would have been great. Um, did it happen? No. We know this. And we already know not everybody's really going to do a discussion and not everybody's really going to read. I'm not an idiot. I've been teaching for SGSC since 2012. So trust me, I've seen it. I already know. I'm not dumb. Coming back to that though in just a second. Um, my in-person class, when I said come up with something totally random, it never occurred to me that a lot of people's brains don't work that way, that some people legit cannot figure out how to just put random together. Um, this is why if I saw that you really tried, I clarified what I meant or said I gave an example in the video or something like that, but you still got full points for having tried. Because if your brain doesn't work that way, it's not fair for me to dock you points for that. I was not aware that some people's brains can't be this random. Um, just like for any of you who really couldn't do it, you probably can't figure out how in the world I came up with something about flipping hamburgers in the sand. I can do all kinds of random without a problem. My kids growing up, we used to do lots of road trips and we would do different games. One of the games we used to play was a nonsense conversation where we had to do sentences where it sounded like we were literally speaking something, questions and whatnot, but none of the words could mean what they're supposed to mean. So it was totally random, but you had to keep it up long enough for the other one to figure out what you were actually saying. I know it's weird, but you know, we never had boring road trips, I can tell you that much. Um, so for those who were unable to think that randomly, um, if you could message me and help me figure out a way for future courses how to do this, I'm thinking maybe I'll come up with columns and like pick one word from here, one word from here, one, and so I can supply you with a bunch of random. So then you can put together something random because I don't want to be unfair. My brain not working the neurotypical way, and I get so frustrated when people try to force my head that way. I don't want to do that to you because my brain doesn't work that way, if that makes sense. Anyway, a lot of people, however, straight up missed the entire thing. I had people who didn't actually clearly state what it was that they asked. They did not copy and paste what AI gave. They just did it like, here's a sentence. You were supposed to really show. Then you were supposed to provide your feedback. Like, were you surprised? Were you not surprised? Because if you completely made something up, you would have seen AI answers it. Some of the different AIs just straight up answer. They will give you an answer 100%. Others will say it is not a commonly known idiom or a commonly used. It doesn't say this is not a real thing. It says not commonly used, which makes you think it must be a saying somewhere. The point was to see that AI can be misleading. And so to base your opinions on AI is not helpful. Yeah, this whole thing is to exercise your own critical thinking skills for you to learn how to find actual answers. AI is improving, yes. Some of the students put in there that they can see that it's been improving. It is because the more people who use it, the more information it's grabbing from other locations in order to attempt to properly answer the question. Big problem here, though, two things that have been in the news recently. There was a huge health report that was published by the Department of Health. This is an American government thing. That they used AI to help write. One, no, you don't use AI to write a flippin' government report. That is lazy upon lazy. We pay our politicians way too much to actually do their job. They should not be using AI. Plus, the AI for this, please Google it. Later, I will try to remember to post the link for the news articles. But this official report cites a whole lot of studies that never took place. So it's citing fake things. At least one person in the discussion, this video is for two different sections, so I don't remember which section it was in. One of the people said they were the most shocked with the AI that they did because it asked if they wanted them to generate sources. That's what's happening. So we have an official government document, and I'm doing this because it should not be official if it was not actually written by officials, that is citing made up studies to try to prove a point that is not scientific because it's based on AI. This is terrifying. This is very, very bad. Another one that is just as horrible, cases have been popping up a lot where lawyers are using AI to write depositions instead of actually using the knowledge and the research abilities that they were supposed to have earned obtaining their law degree. They have been using AI to write depositions, and these AI depositions are doing the same thing, where it's making up previous court cases to put in there for the argument. So AI is making stuff up in order to support what side you're on. This is terrifying. That is not how we grow. That is not how we learn. That is not how we survive. This is bad. Am I saying you should not use AI for anything in your entire world? You do you. The environmental scientist brain, because I also teach environmental science, I'll tell you, avoid it like the flippin' plague. I hate AI. AI uses more energy for every tiny little thing you do than most anything else. Do a quick Google search for just how much energy AI uses. And I'll talk about this later when I talk more about departments, but that's not for today. But am I telling you you should never use AI? I wish people would stop using AI, but this is a conversation that my ex and I, or not my ex, ooh, Chris would upset. My boyfriend and I talk about all the time because he loves using AI and he uses it for a lot of things. And I'm very anti AI. So this is one of our things. My point here, you need to be educated citizens. This is political science. We're talking politics. You are taking a politics class. Well, American government, which is politics. You need to learn how to think for yourself. You need to learn how to tell what is real, what is not real. You need to know how to back up your fact. AI is not how you do it. Can you use AI to try to answer a question? Sure, whatever. But see if it tells you where it got the information from and go there. Stop being lazy. Americans as a whole have gotten very, very lazy in the pursuit of knowledge. And this is making it worse. So if you would like to call yourself an educated person, which I'm assuming you want to since you are going to college, you need to actually educate yourself. Do not rely on AI. Read all the words. If I have to drown you in words to start forcing you to do it, because you will be losing points right and left because you won't read the instructions, I will. I've done it. You have to read the directions. Skimming will not get you anywhere. That is how we are where we are now. You need to read. Now, for the discussion for week 2, I have not had a chance to look at anything anybody has said yet, but I am hoping everybody in here, since it talks about civil rights, is going to talk about what is currently happening. You are supposed to be looking at current news. In the original video for this class, I showed you a website called Ground News. This way you can look at right-leaning, left-leaning, and center. You can do this all on your own in other places too, if you wish. I don't care, but you are not supposed to only look right or only look left. You need to look across, because too many people go, well, I'm a Republican, so I'm only going to read this. And then I'm a Democrat, so I'm only going to read this. And then you have a bunch of finger pointing, and the truth is here. There is no my truth, your truth. There is truth. And if you are not looking for the truth, that is a problem. This is how countries go down. If you are 100% a patriot, if you believe 100% America is an incredible country, it's time to learn America. It is time to actually go to the very beginning, which is what we're doing in this course, of how the U.S. was started. You have to read the Constitution. I have provided the PowerPoint. I can't remember if it's in this week or next week. I have provided a PowerPoint of the Constitution where I broke it down in different slides so it's less overwhelming. You have to read the amendments. You have to go through these things. You have to understand the whole basis of this country if you say you love this country. If you love something, you have to also be able to see when it's doing something wrong. I am a mom. I have 2 kids. Love my kids beyond anything I can ever explain. Are they perfect? No. Do they have faults? Yes. Is it my job as a parent to see when they're going the wrong direction to guide them back to the right direction? Yes. Is it love for me to just let them do whatever they want? No. I love this country. My father's side of the family came to this country when my father was a child. Their names are on the board in Ellis Island. My father grew up in Hell's Kitchen and had to learn to speak English when he got here. I was raised by people who came to this country telling me how wonderful this country is. So when I am saying what is going wrong in this country, it's because I love this country. I know what this country started as. I know how incredible this country was, and I see where it is. And I get very riled up, very riled up. And part of what will happen throughout this term is I'm going to be giving you news. I'm going to give you links. I'm going to give you some videos you need to watch. You should be watching things that are happening in Congress, the debates, because a lot of people look only at the headline and not the details. Politics throughout history, this is not a Trump or Biden or Republican or Democrat thing. This is throughout history. This is just the way politics work. When politicians want to push something through and they're pretty sure people don't want it, they will put something big at the top. Everybody looks at the big thing on the top. That's what the argument becomes. It gets pushed through, and then people don't look at the part down here that now just slid right on under. This is a trick in politics, has been for ages. Decades upon decades upon decades, this has happened. It's just getting so much worse right now. And so I will be giving you some stuff. I will probably open an extra credit discussion in order for other people to go out there and find more articles and throw them in. This way you can see I'm not just trying to force things down your throat. My job as a teacher, as a political science teacher, and as an American is to force you to look at what is actually happening Not just believe propaganda, not just believe TikTok, not just believe quick little blurbs, but to make you actually educate yourself as to what is happening and defend whether or not it is truly American. That is my job. That is my goal. And I'm hoping week 2 discussion got it started because, dude, yeah, that's right there. Um, I am hoping to do more educational videos for future weeks. I almost said terms. You're only here for the one term. For future weeks, for those that it helps. I am not a video person. I don't learn by watching videos. I am a text person. I have to read, but I am aware some people get way more from video. And that's why I do this, because if this was an in-person class, we would be talking, we would have a dialogue. I am also willing for anyone who wants it to meet via Zoom. If you would love to have a back and forth, or if you know a few people in the course that would like to have a back and forth with me, we can do little mini groups. I'm good with that. The issue is you have to give me a bunch of availabilities. I blanked on the word. I have 6 jobs and I tutor freelance. So if you count that as a job, I have 7 jobs. So my schedule gets really crazy. But if you are interested in discussing things back and forth, so you can ask questions or you can go, hey, but I thought XYZ. And then I can help either answer questions or you can help me see things a different way. I am always willing to learn, like legit. Um, I'm good for that. I think that makes a much better class. So let me know if there's anything you want me to cover specifically in future videos like this. Tell me. I will jot it down. I will make some notes and then I will pop on and I will do that too. So, yeah, I think that's most of what I wanted to cover. I am hoping that I don't know if I'm going to have time Monday. I try to take Saturday off. It's the only day I try to take off. And this Saturday, I'm having to drive down to Valdosta for a quick birthday thing and drive back. And not gonna lie, Sunday, I don't know if the video will happen Sunday because I've already got tickets to see 28 Years Later. And that, I mean, your class is important, but the 28 Years Later, I've been waiting for that for a while. But anyway, that's it. Let me know anything you need. And yeah, peace out.